Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we've decided to make this year episode a little bit of a drinking game.
A little bit.
So anytime we say anything negative about a film, each other, anything else at all, you're going to hear a little buzz that sounds like this. And that means that we have to take a drink, people. We're going to drink in order to make sure we stay positive.
So, pour yourselves a glass, but don't touch the glass because they can trace that shit.
They can trace it. That's right. People, we're talking about Gattaca. Man, I've never seen this movie before. I'm sorry if I spoiled that bit for us, but it's on. Nope, different. Get the fuck out of here. Where is it? Dave, you do it. You have it up. I know you do.
What? What
Come on. Come on. He made an Attica joke because this is Gattaca. Come on, it's horse shit. You gotta give him a.
And you buzz me.
Well, nobody's watching.
Dickhead.
I mean, oh, you never know. We have a YouTube channel, people. This is The Love of Sin.
You get buzz for calling him a dickhead.
I thought he was buzzing me. Okay, this is The Love of Cinema. This is our second episode of the night that we're recording, folks, which means we're already a little loose.
tipsy.
So we're getting ready to talk about Gattaca. This was my suggestion because I had never seen it before.
This is about to get real.
It is about to get real. Gattaca, 1997. Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, Jude Law, Gore Vidal, Maya Rudolph as a delivery nurse, Blair Underwood,
Right.
Tony Shalhoub, and of course, Ernest Borgnine, directed and written by Andrew Niccol. This is produced by Danny DeVito. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Really, really fun. This is on Netflix right now. If you're watching this in real time, 2022. I hope it's still on.
Wait, what did you just say? It's what?
It's on Netflix.
Danny DeVito produced it.
Huh.
Well, his company did. I don't know if he was the sole producer, but
his team, and apparently he really.
Yeah.
He was obviously a very hands-off producer.
Why do you think why do you say that?
Well, there's barely a shred of humor in this.
Anyway, I'm excited to see this. I love my 90s movies, people. I kind of grew up in the 90s, so these are the movies that I thought my parents would have been watching.
We should do a whole we should just do a giant series of the 90s movies. We should just... They want us to do it. The world is waiting for it. Let's just give them what they want, you guys.
This is one of those, everyone's been asking about my skincare routine. Everybody's been asking us to do it. Everybody, all tens of you listening, hundreds, usually, but I've been listening to skincare routine. Anyway, this is my suggestion. I've never seen it before. I love sci-fi. I love 90s sci-fi. I love space-related things. I love futuristic things. I love watching tech evolve 25 years later. This is 25 years later after this film came out. This came out in 97, right? I'm not fucking... Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I want to say about this before? John, we have some sponsors. Why don't we go ahead and shout them out?
Carlos Barroso is the name of our beer sponsor.
Excellent shout out.
You can find him on Instagram at cbarroso.beer. Check that link in the show notes. And the music on this episode and every single episode is provided by the artist Dasein. That's Dasein, Dasein. Check the show notes for the link to SoundCloud and other platforms coming very soon. Dude, how did you miss this one, man? How did you miss this one,
I was
Jeff?
very young. I was very young when it came out.
Just really quick, we haven't done a should have seen it by now in quite a long time. So we're always curious. Before we start talking, we always like to ask, why did you not see it? And then maybe at the end, we'll ask you if you're happy you saw it now or if you wish you would have seen it then. And so what'd you think, dude? Why'd you miss it? And
yeah, what were you, 12 when this came out or something?
No, I was younger. I was definitely younger. I wouldn't have seen it I wouldn't have even heard of it when I was younger. And I don't have a good reason. I think sometimes movies like this and Minority Report, I do feel like a good pitch helps. And I just never knew what the pitch was of this movie. Like if somebody says, you should see Gattaca, it's about people who, based on their genetics, they could guess if they were going to be successful or not, or if they were going to be prone to dying, and that determined the rest of their life. And this person really wanted to go to space, so kind of tried to lie. Like if somebody told me that.
If somebody would have said a genetically inferior man assumes the identity of a superior one in order to pursue his lifelong dream of space travel, you maybe would have been interested in giving it a shot.
Buzz for gratuitous reading.
If someone read me the IMDb description of what this movie is, then I would have seen it rather than look
Guys,
for it myself.
you know what? We're already having a great time. I'm just going to put this out there.
I'm going to full sweat. It's so fucking hot in New York, and I have to turn my goddamn AC off so we could record this fucking podcast.
I can see the
this
glisten.
is 2 fucking podcasts in a row. I'm drinking. It's 11:30 because you're on the West Coast, and I'm in a full sweat. I'm already panicking about going to sleep in a sweat. I just washed my sheets. Now they're going to smell like shit. And now you're giving me shade 5 minutes into this fucking episode? Come on.
Just putting it out there. I think we're having a great time. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this officially on the record. I think we should open every single show by taking a shot together. I've said it before. I'm saying it on air because we're having a great time. Let's keep going and see if the audience agrees. Is this a silly episode or what? Gattaca!
Well, I mean, on the bright side, the OBS didn't start recording till about just before Jeff's rant. So,
oh man, oh good, you got the rant. Good, that's for the TikTokers.
Yeah.
Wait, so do we have to re-record, or can we still go?
No, I mean, I've got Zoom. I can recreate it from there.
Okay, great. I love that. All right, people. So we're talking about Gattaca here today. I've heard good things about this. A friend of ours, Riley, said he really likes this movie. He likes some really interesting things. He always loves a good idea, though. So that's why I was like, I'm really curious to see if they pulled off this idea, which I didn't know anything about.
This is a good idea for sure.
Oh boy!
Cool idea.
Oh boy! I can't wait to hear your reaction.
How's Riley with pacing?
Okay, if you're new to our podcast, if you are new to our podcast, we're gonna keep it positive here, as we already said at the beginning of this episode, and snarky little subtle comments do count. Even if a jury would get a different reading from a lawyer that might say otherwise. But if you give us snark, we're going to fucking buzz
we
you.
are judge, jury, and executioner here on this show.
So we try to keep it spoiler-free for a couple minutes. It's been around forever, but if for whatever reason you're like, Gattaca, what the fuck? And then you've been listening.
Can we start with the ultimate praise of this movie? The thing that we need to be most thankful for. It gave us the law. He had already made a few movies that were not hugely successul. This is what launched Jude Law into the Western. I think they knew UK. He had already done some theater and he had already done some movies. But
I was this many years old when I found out this is what gave my wife a lifelong crush.
I mean,
someone else,
right? He's.
I feel like,
don't compete with Jude Law.
I can't compete with Jude Law.
Don't even try to do it, dude.
Yeah, I don't have the street cred to compete with Law.
I feel like there's some people where you're like, come on, who's your crush? Like, tell me who your crush is. And then if they say Jude Law, you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
God damn it. Like if someone says like Chris Hemsworth, you're like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no counter argument to some people.
That's Elizabeth's number one. I just outed her. I outed her on this.
I'm so sorry, man. Good luck, man. You got him. You got it. You're do good. Keep up. Chin up.
Yeah.
Chin up.
We're basically the same, man.
Wasn't Jude Law up for like Thelma and Louise? He was up for everything. He was probably up for like everything, but he just didn't have any credit. Also, it's funny that this launched him because it made $12 million at the box office. Not a big success, but it's funny when Hollywood and the rest of the world don't see eye to eye. And so all of Hollywood probably saw this movie, and apparently not a lot of your parents did. Or
I saw it.
Or me.
In theaters?
I saw it as soon as I saw it when it came to video, because I remember we rented it as family and watched it.
Oh, that's it's fun. And what'd you think when you were 10 or 11 or whatever?
I remember when I was a kid, I remember like thinking of it as like a smart sci-fi movie, so it wasn't about aliens and stuff. Like I heard astronaut at one point, and I was like, "Oh, cool! It's about space. It's not really about space." So I remember thinking it was kind of a smart, a science movie more than a science fiction movie. And we can literally say that right now, motherfuckers, because CRISPR is alive and well, and we're not that far away from living in a world where this kind of shit is possible.
I mean, we do this
at the time.
We do this prenatal, for sure.
I really enjoy the opening. The two quotes are fun at the beginning of the movie and the pre-script. But then he opens the movie by saying, "In the not too distant future." And I thought that was fun. I don't think I was trying, when I saw it this past time, I was like, have I seen anybody else do that? And I don't think anyone has ever said like literally like, this is in the future, but the not too distant future.
I've seen not too distant future
we're right
one or
there.
two times in the in sci-fi. But
If
wanna
you
know
don't
the really
vote, this is tomorrow.
the really the really interesting thing, I watched this with subtitles on. If you turn the sound down and watch with this with subtitles on, it's a different fucking movie. The lines are literally different. Like obviously back in the day, like they weren't as on it, so they got the screenplay and they converted that to subtitles. It was done while they were filming, and but they've obviously changed the lines, so the subtitles are a really fucking scaled down version of the dialogue that's actually happening in the film. It was the most amazing thing to watch because I'm like, I had it on because occasionally noisy shit happens in my house, but like what they're saying is almost different, like half the time, to what's actually on the subtitling.
So Dave didn't see the movie
dialogue
that Jeff and I saw.
Yeah,
Dave watched some weird ass version of screenplay Gattaca.
Yeah.
Here's a fun little random anecdote about the director before we move forward, because when you mentioned this, I was like, I remember that I was like, let me look over his filmography and let me not fuck this up because I don't want to be inappropriate. In 2005, Andrew Niccol wrote and directed. Yeah, Andrew Niccol wrote and directed Lord of War, that Nicolas Cage movie, which is about Victor Bout, which is the man that Russia wants to trade America for to get Brittany Griner back. Fucking timely. He is an arms dealer, and I just thought that was really weird that we're doing this right now, and that came up in Small World. That's just really strange. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's some neat.
He also wrote The Truman Show. He wrote The Truman Show.
I knew I saw it.
I watched recently.
Such a good movie, Peter Weir.
Oh,
he wrote
so
In
good.
Time, which In Time, Cinema Lovers, is a movie that I never saw, but it is the first movie that the Deakins team started filming digitally, and they've never looked back.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big moment in cinema here. All right, so Gattaca.
He goes back occasionally.
One of our... Does he? I don't
Yeah.
think he's touched a film camera since then, has he?
I've seen a photo. There's a film camera in there somewhere.
All right. This is also
the Deke does what he
show
wants.
That Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman got together.
It is.
Yes.
And that union gave us Maya Hawke from Stranger
Things. We were just talking about.
This is what we were going to talk about that. Yeah.
It's a small fucking world. So the genes come. All right. So the idea of this movie, Jeff. Why don't you just set it up so people, because we've talked a little bit about it, but why don't we just set up the idea? Because Riley loves the idea so much, and it's such a good idea.
Let's say it in our own words here. So Ethan Hawke's character has an older brother. Apparently that matters. I kind of forgot it mattered until the end of the movie. Who's like perfect, and he wasn't, because he was born with a potential heart defect, according to these initial scans that you get.
Or he was a godchild.
Yeah. And so his dream was to go to space. He wanted to go to space so fucking bad. He's probably a product of the 60s space race.
Yeah.
Born in the
No,
70s,
we all want to go to space now. That's the future.
I definitely don't want to go to space. This planet can fucking crumble, and space looks like a pile of shit. There's no oxygen. It's fucking freezing, and everything's far apart. I don't understand why anybody wants to go to space.
We found the Bones McCoy of our group.
I want to be up there for 5 minutes so I can look back on Earth and say, that's great. And then I'm going to throw up saying, what the fuck am I doing out here? Can I please get on some ground? Come on.
Would you rather go to the bottom of the ocean or to space?
Well, it's such a terrible... Why would I want to go to either? I'm dead either way. It's stupid. I'm fucking dead. I'm toast. You know what I mean? You know, nobody wants to like lay with a lover like in the fucking space. Like, it's probably so complicated.
Nobody's fucking this bad and say that shit.
They have handles.
Why would you want to go anywhere where no one fucks? Hey, Mom and Dad, if you're listening, thank you so much. So anyway, it's deemed that because of his because of his heart condition that he's not going to be anybody. He's not going to be shit.
Why would you want to go anywhere?
I'm laughing because Jeff's grounded.
Oh my god, that guy fucks. That guy fucks in space.
I am buzzing Dave for laughing. Let's see. I'm going to continue with the film synopsis from my point of view here. So we've gotten through, how far have I gotten? Like 3 minutes into the movie?
Yeah, it's a decent.
I know
it's
we're
not a
about
great
15 into the
description.
podcast.
It's not a very good description. But keep
So
going.
he wants to. I'm
It's about
so
a guy who
hot
wants
right
to
now.
go to
My
space.
face is just like covered in sweat. Okay, he wants to go to space, but he's not allowed to. So he has swimming competitions with his brother. There you go. That's what the movie's about.
Oh my God! Is that your pitch? Is
Wow.
that your pitch? I'm never bringing you in the room.
So he hires Tony Shalhoub before Monk to pretend to be Jude Law, because who wouldn't want to do that? Because Jude Law was hit by a bus or something in London.
Anyone who
one
hasn't
day.
seen this, the basic premise is rich people who get on the down and out sell their DNA to people who don't have the DNA to get these positions. And so that's basically
Because
how
it
works.
is set in a time when genetic engineering allows you to determine the genal structure and avoid any kind of natural pitfalls to babies. So
Yeah.
Ethan
So-
Hawke's character was natural born, and he is always predisposed to have certain illnesses and other things, which doesn't qualify him to work
His
in these
esti-
top jobs.
His estimated
And
year of
Gattaca-
death is like 30 years.
30 or something.
Yeah.
And Gattaca is the name of the facility where people who work on their space, it's basically their NASA. And he can't even get in there as a regular person because they read your genetic code every time you go in and out of any building, anywhere. They do a blood test, blah, blah. So what Dave was saying is there is this whole black market where people buy.
They sell their
Temporary
pee. It's like
genetic-
Florida.
How is it like Florida? How is it like fucking Florida? Explain that fucking shit to me. These people they're just dying in Florida.
can't.
I don't
Fuck
think they're.
That's a
So,
good point. It's
Jude
hard to argue
Law-
with that. Yeah, because fuck them. That's why. Yeah, great.
Jude Law is a perfect specimen. So, as an example of this black market, Ethan Hawke purchases Jude Law's identity as well as samples of his genetics that come in the form of blood, skin, hair. He changes the color of his eyes using contacts. He gets a surgery on his shins to make him taller, all so that he can pass as Jude Law's person and get into this crazy program so that he can train as an astronaut and a scientist to go to space.
Now, I know
But
what
the
you're
main
thinking.
crux of it is it could have been astronauts. It didn't have to be astronauts. It's just a society where people only judge you based
By
on
the
your
printout.
genes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking. It's like, hang on a minute. I've got some dandruff. I've got like arm hairs that fall out. Yeah, that's right. This motherfucker gets up and exfoliates himself gratuitously every morning.
How soft is Ethan Hawke's skin in this movie?
Yeah.
How does he have skin left? Yeah. How does he have skin left?
I want to
That is-
touch it.
I love
I
that
want to
Dave's like.
rub against it.
I know Dave's like. Well, I know what you're thinking. We have arm hair.
Yeah. I got a lot of it. Look. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think he had hair anywhere else. But
Everybody,
anyway,
if you want to see Dave's arm hair, you go on youtube.com/theloveofcinema.
Hey guys,
Dude,
what do you
check
think
out my
about the
butt.
movie?
Yeah. No. What did you think of the movie? Oh yeah, we're gonna keep it spoiler free for a second here. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I know it's mostly premise driven, so a lot of it just hinges on the fact that that's a good premise. But I was into it.
I don't think we need to go spoiler free for I should have seen it by now. This movie
yeah.
came out
I think we're
fucking
good.
25 years ago.
So we were reminding people who've already seen
Just
it what the plot
Go and
is.
watch it and come back if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
And
Did you
agree
mention,
with
like-
what we're about to say?
Did you mention the death that happens too?
Jeff, just tell us, dude. Tell me what you think, man. Talk about all of it.
I thought it was really entertaining and really gripping because I thought it was going to be a space movie, and I kind of like that. Once we went to space, it was kind of from Jude Law's point of view, and we saw a little bit of Ethan Hawke, figuring it out. But I don't know. I was entertained. I enjoyed it. I'm probably not going to rewatch it, but I think it was a pretty solid watch. Yeah. It was so 90s. Oh my God, it was so 90s. The writing, the music, everything was scored so lush and so ridiculously. And it was like, look, we're coming out around the same time as Apollo 13, and we're not going to be that. We're definitely not going to be that. But we're going to beat Minority Report and movies of that ilk. I think it was simple, and I think that it could have been expanded on, but I think it was entertaining. I had a fun time watching this film. That's what I think.
Hell yeah, man. I think it's a really good idea. This is also in the age, Dave. I've been waiting to say this to you. You know how a lot of movies in the 90s were green?
Yeah.
This was one of the green movies.
It
Like
was.
it was so popular at the time. It's one of the beautiful green movies. It was shot beautifully. It's
The color palette's
this is
very interesting.
90s. Yeah, it's so aesthetically sound with a little bit of like neo-noir kind of style. The detectives all in the gray. It's the hats, the very formal, minimalistic costumes that exist in this weird, it's not dystopian. It's like a new age world. I think my only real critique with this movie has always been, and I think I felt this way when I was younger too, is that I think there was room for a story like this to have felt a little bit more dreadful. And I felt pretty safe watching it as a kid because I remember it didn't scare me. And I thought it was going to be confusing and the science was something about it as a young person. I was like,
10-year-old John being like, this is too safe.
It was going to frighten me. I just thought it was going to be, I thought it was like an adult movie. And usually when I watched adult movies when I was a kid, there was something I didn't understand and it made me feel a little tense or anxious or
those
something.
are called penises.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Dan. And this time too,
what? It was the 90s, so no cocks, none. And 10 years later, we might have gotten one.
Yeah, no dicks anywhere. Even though apparently it was a perfect penis. Do you remember that scene?
Yes.
Well, the doctor's like, God, that's that's great. Came out the same year as Boogie Nights. So,
so apparently they've got genetic
1997.
testing, but no fucking HR, apparently.
So this is a beautiful movie. Jeff, I agree, dude. It was so 90s. It was aesthetically sound. The music was pretty. It's well performed. It's a great idea. I think if it had gotten to not gritty, because I don't want them to lose the aesthetic, but I was never actually worried. And I think you were supposed to feel that way. And I've related to them. Like, I felt like the characters were alive enough for me to feel what they were going through. But just tonally, I feel it felt too safe. And I think it definitely felt very safe in this rewatch. But that being said, because it's not the most difficult watch in the world, it's very easy to rewatch. I enjoyed rewatching this a lot. I had a good time. My brother rewatched this a couple of years ago, and he did not have a good time. I don't know if it was a rewatch or his first time, but he had issues with it. But I enjoyed it. We watched it last night together. It was entertaining. I love Alan Arkin. Wish he would have had a bigger part.
I forgot to say him.
He eats that roll
He can do fucking he can do fucking anything. I don't know if the whole brother thing, because I remembered that he was his brother.
Yeah, the swim thing at the end was weird. It was so strange.
I just don't know if that whole thing landed. I feel like maybe there was 10 or 20 more minutes of this movie that would have given it enough footage and coverage and life outside of just the plot, where it would have gone beyond just being a mystery and a detective. Let's see if they can figure out the crime kind of thing. And it would have gotten into a place of like, I just want to live in this site. As aesthetically pleasing as this movie is, I don't know if the story and the characters ever got to a sensual place that a lot of my favorite sci-fi gets to. I think 2001 gets there. I think Arrival gets there in very different ways. I think Tarkovsky's Solaris gets there, where you kind of just feel what it would feel like to be surrounded by this new reality. I don't know if I ever really got there with this one. It was a little shiny, almost a little Tim Burton-y with the design, like almost so stylized that it kind of felt like, I don't know if we're supposed to believe that that people still have feelings in this world. Jude Law is a breath of fresh air in this movie for that, though, because he's so cynical. He's got such a good wit and sense of humor that the casting is really excellent for him. I like
and Uma too. Uma had a couple feelings. They let her
Uma's
have a
a
couple.
fucking alien already. She was just perfect for this.
Yeah,
Like,
her some of
right
the subtleties in her performance really gave
it was really
lot of, like, there was a narrative there for her.
Yeah, absolutely. With not much on the page, so
I actually
good job for her for elevating it.
I saw this film when I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I watched it. I was like, I don't know, maybe I didn't get it or what. And because I was like, this is fucking boring. And then I watched it again today. And it was so refreshing to know that at 25 I had my shit together.
Get out of here.
A buzz from each of us. That's so good. See, that's exactly what everybody was saying about it when it came out. They were like, that was such a letdown. Everybody just trash talked this movie.
It was, I mean, there's some good stuff. Like once the detective story kicks in, yeah, it's great. But you've got to wade through like 20, 30 minutes of shit to get to that. And I just was not interested at all. I wasn't invested. I wasn't, yeah, it was, I feel like if they were adapting a book, because there is a book that has a similar plotline. I don't know if this was an adaptation of that book though, but if they were adapting it, they kind of went way too far on the fucking inner monologue in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I wonder what would have happened if this came out after TV. I mean, by TV, I mean Sopranos and that kind of shit took off, because you're right. I can't believe that. I was still entertained enough. I think there was some good tension in there. I think just the idea of Ethan Hawke trying to be Jude Law and me being like, he's never going to be Jude Law. I think that was enough for me for some reason.
Yeah, you can't, like, dude. What was with the Clark Kent Superman thing going on? Like, it's like nobody realizes it's him. He's walking past, cleaning people and stuff. The people he used to work with.
Good point. Good. There's a lot of
remember when they were
although
like, nobody
like,
looks at pictures anymore.
No, it does. Yeah, it does. Like I did.
Yeah,
make
that
thing.
aged well.
It was like, yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, how long do you think it is before Tinder's like this?
You know what? Tinder's already like this. Shirley's being like, he's a certified liar who's gonna die soon.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, you have to pay for that function now. I did
I thought it was weird.
I did like when he picked up his. Sorry, go on.
The booth that she went up to get his genetic printout.
Oh yeah.
It's like the internet, but you still had to go and actually get someone to print out that information for you. They kind of missed the boat on computers in general. Seemed like they were dated in this movie.
It looked like gambling, like a gambling booth where you get your like gambling winnings from. That's what it looked like to get like your
exactly
DNA winning.
I love the dry cleaners where it has like confidentiality guaranteed. I'm like, that's fucking terrifying.
So this is stuff. You know what?
I must admit though, when we got to like where like he's going through like he gets the alcohol. The urine samples. It's like, oh, this one's got alcohol in it. This one's got alcohol in it. My first thought was, oh shit, he must have a movie podcast.
Dave had fun watching this going, I'm going to say this.
Dave deeply focused on the film at hand.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I watched this for 10 minutes, the first attempt, turned it off and put on Guardians of the Galaxy on PlayStation 5 to bring my heart rate back up. I was so fucking bored.
I thought a couple things.
Oh, Dave.
I still like the idea of like. I still like the idea of how.
I really liked it.
Well, no, hold on. I liked. This would have been a great Black Mirror episode.
I loved.
Yeah.
I loved Act 2 into 3. Act 1, nope.
You guys know what I'm saying though about how like because Act 2 is like a really plot kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this movie just missed the legs of the world. Like. He explained everything to us, and it's I thought I still think it's engaging, like the science, the idea of that. It's fun to learn about, but then once you're there, I don't know if we really got to witness that as much as I wanted to. In addition to the detective story.
Yeah, they're almost two different stories. One is like, I want to go to space so bad, and then you have the detective story. The detective story was the easier one to pull off. I feel like they really relied on the composer for the other one. I want to go to space, and they won't let me. And the composer probably watched this with no sound and was just like, and they were like, no, we want you to feel that like life in him of being like, I'm going to space, goddammit. And he's just watching, and he might as well be watching the movie Office Space. Like,
why did the composer have the subtitles on? Like,
let's see. Let's give credit where credit is due.
But that's hilarious.
The composer's name is, Michael Nyman. Sorry, Michael.
Michael.
I don't know if I've heard of you.
Anything else? Whoa, that was. Anything else Michael's done?
The Piano, the Jane Campion film that she won.
Never heard of it.
For.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any other like real monster.
Actually, that's one of my should have seen it by now, to be honest.
So, well,
I thought that was a pretty thing. Anyway.
So the big takeaways here are Danny DeVito closed his company Jersey Films not too long after this. The casting was obviously good. The casting was obviously good. That you get Ernest Borgnine, Ernest Borg, whatever the fuck,
Borgnine.
Borgnine.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine.
It's okay to pronounce the
Borgnine.
G in this case.
Borgnine.
Yeah.
Academy Award winner Ernest Borgnine. And Gore Vidal. You get all these up and comers. Obviously, the
It's funny by the time you get to the end of this though, like it's like the Doctor knew. There's actually a deleted scene that was restored in the movie
was
at
cool.
some point.
I like that.
Ernest Borgnine knew as well. The cleaner knew, which would have made more sense.
Yeah.
And makes sense with some of the stuff he does, but I don't know why that one particular scene was cut.
So this is a weird, like, can you pull it off film? But even like a Bourne movie has like this action that's like, so like it teeters in so many different things that just feel like could have been better movies, even though I still was entertained. But like, how do you pull this off? Like the spy elements were done better by Bourne and Mission Impossible and stuff, because he's not a spy. The cop elements, obviously, like that detective story is better in Minority Report, because that's sort of the whole point of the movie. So these kind of futuristic things, and then obviously the space stuff, like all the other space movies ultimately pull that part of it off.
I did like some
better.
of the wide
So it's
shots in this. I would tell you the wide shots where
Yeah.
they had like the architecture. No, John's smiling, waiting for the joke. There's no joke here. I'm like the architecture.
The two of them when they were walking together.
Yeah, just the two of them and that guy in the robot
Yeah,
cart
cool.
that just wheels through the foreground to make it a little bit dirty. It was just that sort of cinematography really.
I thought about the it was fun.
All right.
I'm working on a sci-fi short at the shop, and I'm doing sound for these like cars that are supposed to sound futury but not too futury, and it was cool watching this movie. This is before electric vehicles, certainly mainstream electric vehicles, but I thought it was fun that they used all vintage like 40s and 50s cars with sound design as though they were electric. So did you notice that they were all like
I did.
standard models of
Interesting.
Fords
I really
and
noticed
Chevys
that.
and stuff? And
What's the weirdest sound effect you've had to make?
I haven't like designed a brand new original sound. Sorry, Dave.
Do you want to know mine?
Thanks for
Sure.
yeah. Tell me what
Why
yours
not?
is. Yeah.
It's an
Bring
elephant
us
being
back up.
fired through a particle accelerator.
An
Oh
elephant.
wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was the only direction I was given.
Very
nuts.
interesting.
Are
You
you
should
hearing it
plug
now?
that into our plug that
I
into
thought I
our
just heard something.
plug that
just
into
heard people
our
screaming.
soundboard so we can have that next time.
Here it is,
this
guys.
is
I think I'm about to nail it right here. Tell me if you agree.
Oh, that's awfully pretentious. Let's see.
Off of what you just
Fingers on the
said,
trigger.
Jeff, with the spy games kind of thing, I think story wise, I'm just every time I'm writing and watching and making, I'm always thinking like how do we push our protagonist against the wall? Let's pull it out from under them as many times as we possibly can. Let's have everybody thinking there's no way they're going to succeed. There's really only one sequence in this movie where he's challenged, because they get away from the restaurant, right? Like you think, even if you that's a cool romantic scene, but they escape. He hits him, like the stakes are raised, sure. And then there's only one scene and one sequence where the young detective, who turns out to be his brother, comes and inspects Jude Law to see if
So
he's
fucking
actually who he
90s.
says
It's
he is.
so 90s that of course it's his brother.
So 90s. And that's it. Right? Like there's a few little bread kernel moments where you think, oh, are they going to catch him? They catch the eyelash. Alan Arkin's detective character might have a lead that might work out, but he really doesn't have to evade them very much.
It's because
And
no
I
one
think that's
listened to
the
Alan.
problem. No,
Nobody listened to Alan the whole fucking way through. They were like, "Nah, it's not that."
If Alan had gotten what he wanted, he would have been on his heels
Yeah,
the
the
whole
movie
time.
the
and it
movie would have been over in an hour, like done.
Well, unless they came up
Or
with a
that's-
good reason.
No,
yeah.
that's when they would have almost. I don't feel like they were about to catch him the whole time. And look, if you're going to go to, if the punctuation of your story is that the people who matter most to him are going to figure it out, and he's either going to challenge his brother and overcome the doctor character, the people you just mentioned who are going to know and still support him anyway to be an anomaly in this new system, then leading up to that point, you got to make those things seem absolutely impossible. Like near death, everything will go wrong, super high stakes. And I think that's where this whole safe feeling came from. I intellectually understood that he was evading these people because he had been succeeding at it until that point, and now it was being challenged by this detective case. But in terms of like just raw, literal, real-time storytelling, I don't know if it really made me feel nervous at all that he was going to get caught. And I think that might be why, because there's in a lot of our favorite spy thrillers, somewhere in the beginning of Act 2, in that midpoint, or the inciting incident leading into Act 2, you might think, holy shit, they're going to get caught.
Yeah.
And that midpoint, you're going to want to see them almost get caught and then make it out of it. But then we have to have a couple of false resolutions there towards the end, moving out of that into the final act. And I just don't feel like we were really supposed to feel like he wasn't going to succeed after his brother left Jude Law's house.
You know what's crazy? This whole thing's about how he just wants to go to space so bad that he's willing to like basically kill somebody to go to space, even though he's obviously didn't kill somebody. And
I don't know. We never saw his brother after that swimming scene.
Well,
That was very ambiguous.
I'm just saying, it's funny that I spent most of the movie just wondering if he was going to go to jail or not, as opposed to whether or not he's going to go to space. I do wonder, because I still, again, I was entertained during this movie, but I'm wondering if the whole time I wasn't standing there going, oh no, he's never going to go to space. I was like, is he going to go to jail? I don't know. We'll see. Also, we should shout out really quick, the director of photography here, the cinematographer, is Sławomir Idziak, who I was like, that's an interesting name. Sławomir Idziak, nominated for 1 Oscar, was born in Poland, January 25th, 1945, which was a really bad time to be born in Poland.
Yeah.
And
like literally. What were they nominated for an Oscar for?
Thank you for using the they them pronoun on this. They were nominated for Black Hawk Down, also nominated for the BAFTA. For Black Hawk Down, Ridley, and Sławomir Idziak also directed Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Just one Harry Potter movie. Not sure what happened with the rest, but one solid Harry Potter movie.
Didn't direct it.
DP?
Director of photography.
Yeah.
Sorry. Directed the photography.
That's a solid fucking movie. It's one of my
really
favorites.
cool,
Yeah.
Has the best villain in the world.
5.
Harry was so angry
They gave him
during
the
that
sad
movie.
one.
Harry was.
They were like, this guy born in 1945 in Poland is directing the sad Harry Potter movie.
We forgot that. We forgot that puberty sucks. So let's go ahead and just put it all into one movie. There's a little bit in 4, but
I want to say,
Jeff.
One of the lines that stuck me when we got to the end, almost near the end of this movie, when he turns to Uma Thurman and says, "They've got you looking so hard for any flaw that after a while, that's all you see."
I think that
I was like, wow, you just described modern politics, movie critics, and fucking the internet.
That is good sci-fi.
line.
So the stuff is there. The stuff is all there. They just didn't pull it off. But I'm with you. That was touching.
Also, one thing I will bring
It's a
up
great idea.
when they finally when him and Uma Thurman escape and they go back to his house and they're basically having sex.
Might be the last time. Pretty fun way to do it, I would say.
On this bed, and like the walls behind them, it's a window. It's meant to be a window, but it looked like a rear project screen. So it looked like they were rear projecting the film onto there to make it look like it was a window with the ocean outside. And the only thought that inspired to me was,
you should make a sex tape.
How?
I'm sorry.
I'll give you the address later. The thought that inspired to me was, I wonder how many people have snuck into ILM's volume for a quickie.
Ooh, David.
And I want the numbers on this. If anyone from
plane tickets
anyone
today.
from ILM,
Jesus
I want to know how many people have snuck in for a quickie. If you're keeping stats on this,
David's flying out
Do you think,
Central North Carolina very soon. Sorry,
What's his
Central
name?
California. Why did I say North Carolina? Central California.
What's his name, Jeff, the DP?
He's flying out to New Zealand. I fuck, man, I'm all over the place.
yeah, that's wetter, dude.
Okay, what the fuck? I was right the second time.
You were.
Sławomir Idziak.
Quit while you're ahead.
Do you think Mr. Idziak fought for the upside down sex scene? Or do you think they did that in post?
No, I think he did that.
Do you think he composed it and filmed it that way?
Yeah.
Because I thought
think
it
that
was a
intentional.
projection when they were filming it. I was like, when I was watching it the first time, I was like, is that like her apartment? And it's just like in the wall, kind of like a, just an image that she has going like a screensaver on her wall. Thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I think my least favorite, weirdest moment of the movie is when he's like, I'm going to sneak outside and rock bathe. When it just cuts him on the beach naked.
Gonna go down to the beach, pick up some sand and shells and brush myself down. First of all, your beaches don't fucking look like that. And Second of all,
That's how I crouch down when I bathe. I don't know about you guys. I get in that position.
second of all, you're doing
What
the arms.
positions-
You're doing the arms and the chest. You're not doing any of the nether regions right there. Like, not with
What-
Sam.
yeah.
No.
What positions can you be in without showing your penis? They were like, let's
I
try them all
realized
out.
that
Yeah, we need to show as much bare
I
ass
can't
as possible.
see any of that penis. Ethan, move the leg just a little bit.
Oh my
They
god!
almost gave you a little profile dick when he was rescuing his brother in the
That was a
in the
sock,
ocean.
dude. It was he was totally wearing a sock.
How do you know?
Huh?
Are you
It was
sure?
square.
Sock. Oh, Dave paused it.
So
and
unless
looked at it.
yeah, unless he was from fucking Minecraft, that was no cock.
Look,
This
the
is the
doctor
important
said it
debate.
was
This is
a
when
great
people
one.
tune in. They're like, finally,
This
you're
is
getting
what
to
the
it.
people- give them what they want.
I'm
The
still
funniest part is my wife is asleep in the other room and has just heard me yell that was no cock. And she
No
now has
cock.
questions, I'm sure.
Just another night at the greenhouse.
Well, it looks like Gattaca didn't quite hold up as well as we thought,
did
even though
not.
it's
I was
such a
gonna
good
say,
idea.
Jeff, come at me and tell me, do you wish you had seen it back then? Are you happy you saw it now?
So this is one of those weird movies though where I'm really happy that I've seen it, even though I was very entertained. I was hotter on this than you guys were. If I rewatch it again, I would only be doing whatever Dave did this episode. But
I fucking hate you. I'm making me watch this again.
I buzzed John, but
I'm
take
still
it.
not convinced Dave even finished it. I think he may have just watched the first 10 minutes and did some recall. He read a couple
Oh,
articles
come on.
and then just came on the show.
I'm up to Minecraft cock. I've seen the end.
I
Come
was
on.
wondering. Well, I was like, Dave, we've been talking about Gattaca for 2 weeks. It's on Netflix. What's going on? And now I get it. Now it makes more sense.
Took me 3 goes to watch this.
There's a good Jude Law performance. The performances are pretty good. Whatever.
Jude Law
You
does
know where I
rock.
would put this? I would put this in the same category as Dave, help me out. What's the 2000 Christian Bale that's kind of like the Matrix, where he has the ability to like shoot guns and a certain god damn it. It's another sci-fi movie.
Yeah, look that up
Christian
because I
Bale.
don't know
Come
what
on.
that is. I don't think I've seen it.
Christian Bale?
Yeah. It came out like 99 or 2000, like right around the Matrix, and it didn't stand a chance just because it
Yeah, I don't think I saw it.
it wasn't the
I
Matrix.
need to know what this
Yeah,
is.
you have. It was
Jeff Waffle.
Equilibrium.
Oh,
Equilibrium.
wait.
So I would put this in the
Yes,
same
yes.
category of like, there's a lot of sci-fi that came out.
I think I watched that for
around
about
that
20 minutes
time.
too.
Sure. And the Matrix just raised the bar.
I didn't think I'd get away
Like
with
it
that.
took us. No, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, buzz yourself.
2002. Not
Event-
even close. Oh, this is the next Matrix just came out. They came out in 2002.
Event Horizon really like
Sure.
turned, because the Alien movies, sure, they've always had horrific elements, but I feel like Event Horizon was a very successful 90s like kind of scary horror. We had the 96
Dude,
Independence Day.
Event
which had
Horizon
fun.
holds a special place in my heart because I've seen that about 7 times, and to this day, I cannot tell you how that movie ends. Like, it fucks me up in some way, and I just block out the ending. And apparently, there was some footage that was filmed for that they cut down. Because the flesh orgy at the end, I guess is the only way to describe it, was apparently like 15 minutes long or something.
The Flesh
Fuck
Orgy, huh?
Yeah. It was not quick cutaways. It was, yeah.
All the safe words were
Okay.
Latin.
It's like, nope, that's not it. I'm gonna keep going. Nope.
Solway.
Nope.
Nugget.
You missed it.
What's
Nope,
Latin?
that's
But
not
don't
it.
put that there. Fuck.
There's no safe words in hell.
The
in
director-
the dimension of
The director of Equilibrium was Kurt Wimmer, and not great ratings on his movies. Movies he's written 3.9, 5.5, 5.5, 5.7, 6.1. Not the greatest reviews
Is that
for
a
Kurt
10?
Wimmer, but yeah.
Ooh,
Law-Abiding Citizen, Point Break. He produced the
jeez,
yeah.
good
Oh,
for
wow.
him.
Fuck yeah. dude.
Wait, the
Directed-
the
That's
original?
a good one.
The original?
2015.
Oh, nope. Take it back. I take it back.
One Tough Bastard, Ultraviolet, Children of the Corn 2020.
Ultraviolet is the biggest piece of shit you've ever seen in your life.
Well, he's not a big fan of Kurt Wimmer over here, Dave.
Wow.
Has
Please
an
stop.
upcoming
Please
project.
stop reading things.
Solara. I hope it's a remake of Solaris, John. I really hope it is just for you.
God damn it.
Solara. Plot unknown. Under wraps. For
He
producers.
doesn't know either.
He doesn't know.
He's not sure. He's not sure yet.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Anyway, I was just saying, I feel like Gattaca kind of slipped into like, there's a place in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s where they were still taking chances on sci-fi. They kind of pressed pause for a while in the 2000s and like when I don't know. I just feel like just looking at like the history of everything, Gattaca was one of the last movies where I thought they tried to make a sincere, grounded sci-fi movie that wasn't an action movie and wasn't a horror film.
No, it wasn't.
And we don't see a lot of these very much.
It's Black Mirror now.
Story. So I do appreciate
TV,
some other
It's
wrap
Black
around
Mirror.
it. Yeah.
So I was happy they tried. I was trying to say, I want to give it some credit. I think it's fun that they tried to make a smarter,
Well,
a smart house
as I
kind
said,
of movie for
Act 2
sci-fi
is
fans.
fucking amazing. I was
Could have
like,
gone further though. I agree with everything we've said. I
Yeah.
think it's a flawed film for sure, but it is it's entertaining. Jeff liked it way more than us. Jeff, give me 1 out of 10.
I'll give it like a okay. Well,
do we do that here?
I'd give it like a 6.5.
That's good. That's very reasonable. Dave, I'm going to go with a
Even before this conversation, I wouldn't have gone over a 7. Even before this conversation, I would have said. No,
Dave, you're
before
going
this
with a
conversation,
4?
I would have said 7.
Dave, you're going with a 4?
No,
a generous 4?
I'd go as a 5 if you can make it through Act 1. Like, make it through Act 1 and judge the rest of the movie based on that.
Kudos to Ethan
yeah.
Hawke for looking like Jude Law. He figured it out. He did a good job.
Yeah.
I don't know what routine he was on, what he was
Yeah,
eating.
it's
his
like we
skin was
have.
great.
All right, which character is it today? We'll have hairstylist number 1 or hairstylist number 2.
I love it that like Jude Law, they're like you're gonna be, they're gonna be like you're gonna be
Can we
depressed,
talk about?
and you're still gonna be.
Can we talk about the coarseness, the thickness of those strands of hair they kept finding everywhere?
Yeah.
Those were not your average strand of hair. That shit was thick. It was to be able to see that
it was
clearly
thicker than like a
on a
needle.
lens. It was like, I mean, that was like, those were very thick hairs.
I will say, not the best moment when Uma Thurman drops the hair and she's like, "Oops, the wind must have got it." I was like, "Oh boy, oh
So
boy."
cheesy.
No,
Yeah,
I dug that.
I
That was
know.
a throwback to what he said in the earlier scene.
It's thanks to
Good
her.
job, Dave.
It's thanks to her.
Yeah,
You must
yeah.
have had the
It was
sound
a
on.
throwback.
You must have had the.
It must have read better than it's.
That's fair. You fucker.
All right, that's our conversation about Gattaca. I am really happy I saw this film.
That went to pieces.
There's some movies you're glad you saw, even if even if they don't click.
Yeah.
I didn't mind rewatching it. I didn't mind it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's some movies 2 out of 3 of us are glad we re-saw.
There's something fucking weird
Look,
about
if I made that movie, would you guys tell me I made a shitty? Would you tell me it
I'd
fucking
be
sucked?
I'd be so proud
like,
of you, and I would say, God damn it,
cool, yeah.
your next movie is going to be so good. I think
I'd be like, we need to talk.
Get him next. Get him with the next one.
Oh my God, yes, yes.
Wait, hang on.
Sell
Jeff
this to
gets
make
that.
I would say. If this was on,
I've heard it
this
before.
is so 90s that in 1998, when this was on TV, I bet you I would have definitely watched like a solid 15 minutes of it, wherever it was. I would, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I definitely saw this on VHS. I could like hear the sound of putting it into the VCR as I was queuing it up on Netflix. It's all right there.
All right, people, we got to wrap up there. That was so
What
good.
have you
We're
been watching?
gonna
What have
finish
you
up
been
with
watching,
a
you
quick
guys?
round of recommendations in our segment. What you've been watching, Dave? What on earth have you been watching besides this movie, which you put off until the very last
I
second?
really, well, it took me 3 goes, but no, I have been watching finally, going back through Love, Death and Robots on Netflix.
Finally got to Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh my God, some of those are fucking magic, and some of them are like the most amazing animation you've ever seen. Some of them are very, very poignant. I recommend 3 Robots and anything that has the 3 robots in it, because there's 2 of them. So yeah.
All right. Well,
But they're all shorts.
It's on
They're
HBO,
all
what did you
animated
say?
differently. No, it's on Netflix.
Right, I wasn't listening. Yeah, okay, Netflix. No shit.
I got nothing new. I told you in our last episode because I'm drinking whiskey and
Yes.
I
Just
didn't
finished
calculate my
John's habit.
You just
my
finished
recommendations well enough.
Stranger Things, starring the product of this movie. The best thing to come out of this movie. Maya.
Can't even buzz that.
She was made in that bed with an ocean projection on the wall behind
Yes.
her.
Upside down.
Hilarious. I tried watching another one of the Obama National Parks movies, and I'm a huge Barry fan. I'm a huge Barry fan. It's not my voice for the nature documentaries. So sorry.
Dude, where are these documentaries?
Well, they're on Netflix. They're great. They're great. They're great. I like the Kenya one. The national park in Kenya is fantastic. Let's see. What else did I watch? I tried watching this one about people making.
That's not American.
I tried watching this people making like medieval weapons. I tried watching that on Netflix. Didn't click for me.
Why?
So
Why'd you do that?
I knew I would.
Why did you?
I don't have to explain.
I've been trying to get you to watch Drive to Survive for fucking a month
because I
now.
know
you are going to be, Jeff. You're going to be covered head to toe in like Mercedes gear. You're going to be like wearing.
If my supervisor listened to these 2 episodes, she would be like, "Fucking failing you, man. Come on, you have like a week to finish this paper. What are you doing with your life?" And I'm watching. I'm like
medieval weapon making.
Okay, so I tried watching that on Netflix. I forget what it's called. Something you just Google medieval weaponry and it'll come up. I watched. I'm still watching The Bear and Ted Lasso, which I mentioned last episode. There's one other fucking thing. Don't tell me to take notes. I'm not taking notes when I watch television. The Michael Pollan stuff. I'm very curious about that.
What did he write that got turned into a?
Well, he's written books about
tons of things,
basically about drugs. But he started out.
Yeah.
He started out as like a gardener and wanted to know why like he couldn't grow things that could be turned into drugs, like how like regulated it was, and it led him into learning. So everything from caffeine to mushrooms to LSD to peyote and stuff. So there's just like a little thing about his journey studying consciousness.
Drugs are bad. Okay. Okay.
So I started that one. It's pretty good. I think that the LSD one actually is too shticky and too spiely. I think we got the shtick. I think it would have been great to stick with the science as opposed to the law stuff about it, because we know the law stuff is just going to make you angry.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious when we get to magic mushrooms and peyote. I'm curious to see what he has to say about it. But he does do caffeine too, because he's like, it's about all of these. It's not just about tripping. He's just curious about things that alter our consciousness as in a way of studying consciousness. And why is it that people don't want us to study consciousness? I'll give you a hint. It's Richard Nixon. It's like we need a villain. Oh, it's people that
go here.
Oh, it's people that understand that this whole thing is really stupid and this is all man-made. I get it.
Right.
So let's just make it illegal. So that's it. I'm very curious. That's on Netflix. Michael Pollan. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Can't wait to see you guys next week. What do we do next week? Doesn't matter.
Medieval
We'll find out.
times.
We'll find out.
You'll find out. It's good shit. Guys, follow us. Dave made a link tree. He's really proud of it.
Sort of proud of it.
Here's a QR code. That one he's even more proud of.
Go fuck yourself.
See you guys next week. Thank you, film fans.